Now we discuss what are the different compartments within the eyeball and what are the different refractive media. Technically, some of the aspects are related to physiology. So they will explain to you how these refractive media are useful for the visual apparatus. But structurally, we will discuss some of the points. Okay. So as you can see in this particular slide, in this picture, here, this is the cornea. We already discussed as far as this cornea is concerned, it's a transparent part. Okay. And it is the where the light also bends somewhat. Okay. So as you can see, the image is upside down. When it falls on the retina, it is always inverted image. Okay. So it passes through the lens, and lens can change the dimensions of this focal point. Okay. So thickness of the lens will change the focal point when it falls on the retina. So that we will discuss little later with the accommodation reflex. So this is what is the behind the cornea aqueous humor. This aqueous humor is nothing but the fluid. It's a clear fluid, and it is circulating in this anterior compartment. This compartment is known as anterior compartment, which is in front of the lens. Whatever is in the front of lens is anterior segment or anterior compartment. And this is the lens, which is also have this particular refractive medium. And behind it is the vitreous humor. Vitreous humor do not contribute to the refractive index of the light for the light. But it is very important because the gel will keep the retina, which is here, in its position. With the increasing age, the slight shrinkage of the vitreous humor will take place. If this shrinkage takes place, the retina will detach. So detachment of retina is common in old age later on when the vitreous humor shrinks. Clear? So that is the clinical importance of knowing this vitreous humor, detachment of retina. Otherwise, as far as the refractive index does not contribute for the magnification of light anywhere. It's just a passage. Okay. So we have cornea, aqueous humor, lens, and the vitreous humor. It's a transparent gel here. So this is what is the different refractive media. Let's understand, because cornea I already explained and vitreous humor I already explained now. Because these two need somewhat explanation, we have two different slides for it. So let's understand now this about the aqueous humor. As I mentioned, it is present in the anterior compartment, and anterior compartment is in front of the lens, behind the cornea. So this particular anterior segment is divided into two compartments, still further, chambers we call it. So segment is divided into two chambers. The part which is in front of the iris here and behind the cornea here, and this is the lens which is guarding it. So this chamber will be anterior chamber. So this is the anterior chamber. And between lens and the iris, a smaller chamber is the posterior chamber. So anterior segment is divided into two chambers. Anterior chamber, which is a bigger one, and posterior chamber, which is a smaller one. Anterior chamber is in front of the iris, and posterior chamber is behind the iris. And humor, the fluid, which comes from the ciliary body here. This is the ciliary body. So from here, the fluid exudes and secretes into this particular chamber. Then it flows through the small gap between the lens and the iris to the anterior chamber. Then it passes at the corner, which is known as the sclerocorneal junction. That's the point. Here, there is a canal of Schlemm. From this particular canal, the fluid will enter into the venous plexus. And that's how it is drained. So this is the circulation of the aqueous humor, starting from ciliary body to the posterior chamber to the anterior chamber, and then to canal of Schlemm, and then to the venous plexus. So this is what is about the circulation. What is the function? Nutrition, support of the structures. It makes the shape of the eyeball perfect. Okay, otherwise the cornea will indent. So it makes the intraocular pressure should be reasonable to maintain the shape. So this is what is its function. It's a clear fluid, so it doesn't harm the passage of the light. So this is what is about the aqueous humor and the anterior segment I already mentioned this. Remains the clinical part. This is the
Doctor,
clinical part is that suppose there is a blockage of the canal of
Dr.
Slem.
Hussein,
Yes,
someone asked about the vitreous chamber. Where is it exactly in the picture? The previous one.
the anterior chamber and posterior chambers.
The
Okay, let me
vertex.
explain in this one because this is the complete picture. That one is halfway, so sometimes you get confused. Let's see here. This is the cornea, right? This is the cornea. This is the lens, and this is the iris. So, in front of the lens, whatever is in front of the lens, whole thing is anterior segment or anterior part, anterior compartment. Whatever is behind the lens, it's vitreous humor posterior compartment. Now, within this anterior segment, we have two chambers. The chamber which is in front of the iris here and behind the cornea is this one is the anterior chamber. And between the lens, this is the ciliary body and the fibers from ciliary body, ciliary processes, and this is the iris. Between them here, where the laser you see, this is a small posterior chamber. Fluid comes from here, ciliary body. It goes to this posterior chamber, which is very small. Then it passes between a small slit-like gap between iris and lens to this anterior chamber. It floats into the fluid is circulating here in anterior chamber. It goes to the corner. This is the sclerocorneal junction. Here is the canal of Slem. It's a cavity, passage, canaliculus. Then it will go to the veins which is here. So this is what is the posterior chamber and this is what is the anterior chamber. I can draw here for you so that it makes easy for you. So this is the iris. So this part is the anterior chamber and this part is the posterior chamber. And as I mentioned, anterior chamber and posterior chamber are continuous at the slit-like gap between iris and the lens. Yeah. So that's how the fluid will pass. That was that diagram explaining. Okay, so this is what is about the two chambers of anterior segment of the eye. And if the canal of Slem here is blocked, canal of Slem blocked here, the fluid will not be absorbed. Fluid will not be absorbed. So secretion continues and the fluid is not getting absorbed. So the pressure into this chamber goes on increasing, which is known as intraocular pressure. Intraocular pressure. So intraocular pressure is the one which is because of this particular fluid. Here, so
Doctor,
yes,
the blockage of the fluid, is it called glaucoma?
yes. Now pressure, the increase in the pressure is known as glaucoma. Condition is known as glaucoma, and pathology is blockage of the canal which raises the pressure. The increased intraocular pressure is known as glaucoma. Definition of glaucoma is increased intraocular pressure. The whole orange space is vitreous. Yes, you are right. Okay. So whole orange space is vitreous. This whole thing, it's a whole gel-like structure and it maintains keep the retina in position in posterior compartment. When this gel shrinks, the retina will detach. So with degeneration of this particular gel with increasing age, gradually sometimes the small changes will not do more harm. But if the shrinkage is little bit more, then it will detach the retina. And then you have to fix by putting a bubble into the posterior segment and put the pressure equivalent to make the retina back into the position. That is what is the treatment of detachment of retina. Yeah. Okay, so this whole orange space is the vitreous. And glaucoma is nothing but the increase in the intraocular pressure. Intraocular pressure increase is known as glaucoma. And the mechanism of the pathology of this particular glaucoma is blockage of the canal of Slem. So blockage of the canal of Slem will lead to increase in the pressure because secretion continues, drainage is stopped. And that is the reason. That's why they keep a small surgical procedure to open the canal by laser nowadays, and then the passage will start and the pressure will normalize. Okay, so this is what is about glaucoma. It will be taught by ophthalmologists in a great detail because it's one of the very common condition which should be understood. So you understand about the aqueous humor, and that's why the glaucoma and aqueous humor is a close correlation. And this circulation I already explained. So starting from ciliary body, the fluid starts secreting. It goes to this posterior chamber now. It's clear to you. And there is a slit-like gap. This whole thing was anterior chamber, which I shown in a full picture. And then it goes to canal of Slem and then absorbed into the veins. Because it's similar to plasma, so composition is same, so it returns to the vein. Coming to the lens, it is biconvex, which I have already shown to you. Now, because some of the fact needs understanding in the picture, I'm going back to the picture to give you idea here. So in this region, now you see the lens, okay, and this is the ciliary body. Within the ciliary body, there is a muscle. This muscle is known as ciliaris. Muscle is ciliaris here. And from ciliary body, there are fibers, zonular fibers, suspensory ligament of lens. Simple name, suspensory ligament of the lens. It is coming from ciliary body and it goes to the margin of the lens here, both the sides. It's all around. It's like circular. Okay. And this particular muscle, ciliaris muscle, comes from the sclerocorneal junction and goes backwards. So its origin is here and insertion is here. Okay. The ciliary body is located, it's a part of our vascular coat. It has nothing to do with the cilia of our eyelid. Okay. So the ciliary body is located with this particular area. This part is the point where the iris ends. Then there is a body. And then there is a blood vessels, which is choroid, vascular coat. So our vascular coat is divided into three parts. This is the iris. Okay. Then there is a ciliary body. This body is actually attached to the sclerocorneal junction. There is a muscle. And this muscle will go into the ciliary body. And from ciliary body, there are fibers, zonular fibers. They will go to the margin of the lens. Clear? So, when this muscle is contracting, what will happen? If the muscle contracts, I will draw with the pen. This muscle contracts, so it will bring the ciliary body like this. When ciliary body is moved forwards, the zonular ligament will relax and lens will become thick. So lens will become thick. And when the ciliaris muscle is relaxed, lens become flat. So don't confuse with this, that how come it becomes thick when the ciliaris contracts. When the muscle contracts, ciliary body goes forwards. Because of this, the distance will be shortened, and that's why the fibers will relax here. These fibers will relax and lens will become thick. These things is necessary when you are reading. Okay, so when you are reading, the eyes converge and the lens become thick. Okay, so this particular ciliaris muscle is under control of the parasympathetic fibers coming from oculomotor nerve. Oculomotor nerve. So that is the third cranial nerve, which supplies intraocular muscle, also an extraocular muscle also. So this is one of the intraocular muscle within the eyeball. And this particular ciliaris is controlled by oculomotor. So our accommodation reflex when you want to read near vision is by the oculomotor, parasympathetic fibers of oculomotor, and that contracts the ciliaris, relaxes the suspensory ligament, and makes the lens thick. This is for near vision. This is for near vision, and that reflex is known as accommodation reflex. It is mentioned at the end of the presentation with the visual pathway. So that is the accommodation reflex. Our eyes converge, so that controls that also. Pupil constricts and the lens thickens. Three things takes place in accommodation reflex. Okay, so this is what is about the thickness of the lens by contraction of ciliaris. Relaxation of ciliaris makes the lens flat. With the increasing age, like my age, 54, okay, this particular flexibility of lens is lost. Okay, so my ability to match with the inversion is lost. Yes, when the ciliaris muscle contract, not ciliary body. When the ciliaris muscle contract, ciliary body comes closer. And when the ciliary body comes closer, the zonular ligament will relax. And because zonular ligament relax, the lens will become thick. This is what is a mechanism. Because this will go forwards, this will come closer. Because this close to this side, the zonular ligament becomes loose. Once they become loose, lens will become thick. This will become loose. And once they become loose, lens will increase its thickness. Okay, and this is the zonular ligament. This one. These are the fibers coming from ciliary body, going to the margin of the lens. These are the zonular ligaments. Like this. These are the zonular ligaments, which are suspending the lens. Because this will come, contraction will make the ciliaris contraction will make the ciliary body forwards. This particular ligament will relax and the lens will become thick. Clear? So this is what is about the mechanism of accommodation reflex for near vision. Okay, and if with increasing age, this particular ligament is the just fibers, thin fibers. Clear? This ligament injury will ultimately displace the lens, which happens. Okay, so if the ligaments are damaged, which can happen in ocular trauma, then we displace and dislodgement of the lens. Then you have to reposition and stitch it with the corrective surgery. It happens in ocular trauma. It displaces the lens. Okay, and then the temporary loss of vision will be there because the light will not be able to travel. Lens is displaced. So you have to fix it. You have to open from the margin of the cornea, you make an incision, go in, pick up the lens, settle it, stitch the capsule of the lens in its position. Okay, so this is what happens when the ligaments are torn, which happens in ocular trauma. So with increasing age, the thickness and the flexibility is less. So my ability for near vision is lost. So this condition is known as presbyopia. Presbyopia. Your near vision is lost. You cannot see the things in the closer view. So that's why we add the glass. Okay, positive numbers because it should be convex. We want it to be thick. Okay, so because lens is not adjusting itself, it has already thickened, but it is fixed now. And thereafter, it cannot change the curvature. When suddenly from far to near vision, immediately it should fix up, but it is not able to do it. So when I start looking without this glass, the hazy vision will be there. So I need to add whatever refractive index for that lens to be adjusted. And this is what is presbyopia, which is corrected by glass. Or later on, suppose the lens itself becomes opaque, cataract. Opacity of lens is known as cataract. And this particular obstruct the vision. So you will remove the lens from its capsule and put the artificial lens. Or you can remove and give a thicker glass, whatever is the option of the patient. Whatever he chooses, you do. So this is what is related to the lens. I have not mentioned cataract here. Cataract is a full title for ophthalmologists, so they will explain in detail, but it is relevant to the lens. So I'm telling you that that is the opacity of the lens with the increasing age. The lens fibers becomes calcified, and that's why it's obstruct the vision. And then you have to remove the lens and put a new artificial lens nowadays available, or intraocular, or you remove the lens and put the thick glass in front to adjust with the refractive index of the lens which you have removed. So this is what is presbyopia and cataract. Presbyopia is like me, adjusting the refractive index of the lens by adding the glass. And cataract, opacity, I cannot see even. Then you have to remove it and put the intraocular lenses or add the thicker glasses for vision. So this is what is about the lens. I mentioned the mechanism for the accommodation reflex for near vision. And when the lens is flat, as you can see in the bottom of the picture here, so that is for the far vision, and this one for the near vision. So always remember, thickness of the lens increases the near vision, better vision, and flattening the lens, far vision. And who does this near vision? Ciliaris contraction. And who controls the ciliaris is oculomotor nerve. Which part of oculomotor nerve? Parasympathetic. And parasympathetic fibers for oculomotor nerve comes from nucleus, parasympathetic nucleus. What is the name of that nucleus? Edinger-Westphal nucleus. Physiologist, Edinger-Westphal nucleus, which is located into the midbrain. And from there, the fibers will travel along with the oculomotor nerve, through the oculomotor nerve, and supplies this particular small intraocular muscle, which regulates our accommodation reflex. Okay, so this is what is about some of the important facts related to the lens.